Hey everyone. Um, I'm going to talk about mental illness, but not in the sense of me being mentally ill, but what they're doing with women in Iran. I'm going to leave a picture here. In Iran, women are not allowed to show their hair. So, me, I cannot show my beautiful curls, enjoy myself, express my own identity, just walk outside. Also, women are not allowed to be singing in public without covering their hair and being in a group with other men. I don't know if they can sing with another group of women, but I think they have to have like something called like a male, I don't know, like a male responsible for you, like parent, foster someone. Eventually, you need a male to have, like, you need a related male to be able to perform and do things in public or even in events. So the term mentally ill was used with some of these women who decided that, you know what, I don't want to freaking wear this hijab to cover my hair because you say so. I don't know if you remember from a couple of years ago, a woman named, I think, Maya or Misa Tahsini, algo así, something, was murdered in police custody because she did not wear the hijab in public, and they took her in custody, they beat her up, and then she died in their custody, probably because they beat her up. So this is problematic now. Why would some people, especially women, approve to what is happening to other women in their own country and just kind of victimize their own? So it's not the issue that all women now are fighting for their rights and freedoms and the men are the ones who are stopping them. It's the opposite. It's like men and women of the majority of the Persian population nowadays has no problem with women being covered in public. And many of them actually preach about how women should be covered in public, while on the other hand, you have some younger generation women and even men protecting these women who want these women to have the freedom to actually express themselves, to wear whatever they want, and to go explore the world because they know it's not that problematic for a woman's hair to be shown. For example, if you look at a country like Saudi Arabia, they cover their women like completely. If you look at this, like you cannot even see a strand of hair. Now, if you turn away into Iran, their way of wearing this veil is also different, that you can actually see the majority of the hair. So the problem is now, why is it that you can show pretty much the majority of the hair, but you just have to do something like this? I have too much hair. Like cover at least a part of your hair, right? So this is problematic. A couple days ago, women in Iran are still fighting against this law system that, the religious Sharia police system, government, whatever you want to call it, because those countries that are run by Muslim rule actually have Islam law into the politics. So the country is run by Islamic Sharia law, and there is no separation between church and state. So women have to deal with what the religion says about their voice, their hair, what they're supposed to do, what they're not supposed to do. And eventually it's pushing lots of these women to be marginalized. Now, the problem is becoming that many of these women are going out to protest this harsh condition by showing their hair, showing a little bit of skin, dancing in public, maybe singing in public alone. There's a video of a girl who was sitting in a public place in her underwear, in her, let's say, underwear and a bra, right? So she was just sitting there, walking around just to protest. And the popular group, people, the norm, labeled her mentally ill because she was protesting something that other people are not protesting, which leads you to the problem of, is it mental illness because you're fighting for something that affects you? Or is it mental illness because you decided to do something that no one else or very few minority agree to? if we step back also to Saudi Arabia or even the infamous Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, being gay is illegal. In Iran or in Dubai, it is death penalty illegal. Like it's not just get you in jail illegal. Like in Saudi Arabia, also it's death penalty illegal. So it's pretty harsh. Now you step back into Kuwait, where my parents are from. Being gay, if you're a guy, is illegal. Being gay, a lesbian, if you're a woman, is not. So why? Eventually, it's not really just being gay or not being gay. It's about men being gay. That is not allowed. Problem. Now, if we go to Iran, Iran would say it's okay for trans women to exist, shockingly, but gays cannot exist. So the government of Iran will go force gays into transition so that they would be able to live into society without disturbing the peace. So as long as you look normal, it's not much of a problem. Now, if you go to the UAE, being a trans or being gay or a lesbian, I think is problematic, not recommendable. Do not stay there. Hide yourself, go back into the closet, dust yourself up, and just sit there for a while if you have to be in that area. Now, if you go to Saudi Arabia, it's a similar thing. Being trans, being gay, being lesbian are all not equal. Now, all of these are Islamic states, right? But the term mentally ill is used in all of these four countries. If you go to Kuwait, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Iran, anyone who is part of the LGBT community is labeled as mentally ill. So in these countries, conversion therapy is still a very prevalent option to fix some of these people who identify with something that is not typical of what the government or the society would of you. So now let's turn and jump to the West. Now, the same term has been used to describe gay people 20, 30 years ago. Come out a couple years after, gays are not actually mentally ill. Obviously, every freaking country has gay people. It's not mental illness. It's just things that happen. These people are successful. These people have jobs. These people can hold positions of power, control, and lead certain parts of companies or even the country if they're given the opportunity to do so. Now, fast forward, being gay now is legal for a while and people kind of semi-accepted it. But the majority of the people, if you think about being gay, being able to marry someone who's of the same sex as yours, it was when the law was passed, there was a lot of backlash of these people are going to destroy our lives and they're going to ruin our country and God is going to be mad at us and we're going to be tortured and they shouldn't. But eventually, if it's passed into law, people are going to reject it. Some people are going to accept it. So if we come to now, the scenario is similar with being trans. I think it's a problem to say all trans people are seen as equal. Now, why is this a problem? Because when you look into society in general, they put non-binary people with trans-binary people in the same box. So if you go and you ask someone in the United States or someone in Spain or someone in Europe, why do you think this bathroom scenario is a problem? They're like, well, yeah, you can identify as a non-binary person, but then you walk into the women's room with full beard, covered in glitter or something, and then you just kind of say, well, I'm not binary, I wanted to identify with this gender today. And it gets problematic because there is no fixed option. And I think people really like this idea of fixed options or boxes, right? So even if we think we're more open outside these boxes, we still go back to it, or we're put in these boxes. I talked to a friend here about like their box and their non-binary and all this and that. And I told them like, yeah, but like you're still Spanish. The food that you prefer, the way you're talking, socializing, the way, let's say, you deal with your vacations, the way you spend money, the way you're fighting, shows that you fit more into this box, not into a Malaysian box, not into, Papua New Guinea kind of box. And then you have certain behaviors that are deeper than the surface level of what I know of myself. There are things that you do that you do not even know that you're doing. For example, I grew up between two countries, Kuwait first, United States later, my teenage years. I thought everyone kind of needed to be masculine if they're born male, and then you go to the United States, they're like, yeah, you can be, but then also not, unless you're in one of those religious red states, then you have to be masculine if you're born male, and that's what's expected of you. Now, if you come to the transgender issue at hand, with specifically the bathroom scenario, I see a lot more trouble trying to separate people's bathrooms based on whether they're trans or not. Because, for example, people say, I don't want children to be, seeing this or being abused. But then if you're taking these people, switching them the other way around and putting trans women in men's bathroom, trans women are still going to be with children in men's bathroom. Like, I don't know what the difference would be. But if you want to talk about biology, you also have to be considering that women's bathrooms are not women's bathrooms. Women's bathrooms are everyone's bathrooms except adult male, adult men, right? Now, in this sense, there are lots of young boys, lots of young girls, mothers, who go to the women's bathroom. I still see them, like kids, men, boys, not men, young boys are always walking into women's bathrooms. So now you can go tell me, well, biology is at play here, but these are kids. But like, if you're going to make this argument of only biological women are allowed into biological women restrooms, then mothers cannot take their male children. It's the problem. So what? You're just gonna have to leave your child outside because he's born male? Oh, you identify him as male at this point of life if they're really really young. But the same thing happens with men's bathrooms. So now you're gonna have to go say, well, now we're gonna have to go make sure everyone here is biological. And then you're going to have someone who looks like me, someone who had the surgery. And then you have a curious little child who's just like, what is happening? And I've had actually an interaction with someone, not anyone I know, but I think it was in a mall or a restaurant or something. So I was in the bathroom alone, looking at the mirror, fixing my hair, doing my lipstick, like girls do these things in women's bathrooms. It's not like so frowned upon. But I think it was me trying to jump back into the men's bathroom, and I got really weird looks, treatment, comments, and I felt very unsafe because of people walking very close to me. I had people like trying to, shoulder bump me, and I'm just kind of moving away. And also, like, the bathrooms are not made for people to do makeup. So even men who go say now, like, yes, we want you in the men's bathroom, it's not a big deal. They just say this because they don't want you to be in the women's bathroom. They haven't really thought about trans women or feminine people in general being in the men's bathroom, giggling, taking pictures, twerking while they're on the side. And this is where it just becomes problematic at this point. So biology doesn't really work here. But the idea that trans people are mentally ill is the same thing that you would think of in the Middle East of you decided to go, against the current. And now, because you're against what everyone else is doing, you have to be labeled ill. Because why would you else? Why else would you do this, right? So now you get into a position of anything that is different than the norm will be labeled mental illness. For example, someone who moves into a different country that is, let's say, less rich in a certain sense. Like, I have a friend who moved from Switzerland to the Congo, and people also told him that, like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do such a thing? Are you okay? You need therapy? Like, you need to figure out why you're leaving us, the good, right things that you should be liking, to move into a different country that we would never move to. So eventually it's not about your choice, it's about how far away is your choice from the norm. Now, in the Middle East, if you are in Iran and as a woman show your hair, you're mentally ill. If you're in the West and you're showing your hair, you're completely normal. If you're in Iran and you're protesting for feminism and women's right, you're also labeled mentally ill. If you're in Europe fighting for feminism and women's right, you are progressive and people would definitely support you, including the government. So this idea of labels, I don't think people should take them that seriously, because I actually did take them very seriously, and I kind of questioned myself for a while, like, why does this happen? Why was I born in this way to be needing to transition? Because I don't think it was much of a like I decided to. My decision was, how am I going to move on with my life knowing this right now? So it was not like I was definitely looking to find myself. So I would not say that I did not try to, let's say, find myself and think the system is a bit corrupt. But also, I met, I think, in Kuwait when I was younger, gay people. I met some, I haven't met personally, but I've heard of the she males. So the trans women who keep their genital area intact. And the vibe I got from the she males in the region of Kuwait was more of they were still very horny and they always asked me for pictures of my butt, which kind of made me freak out of like I never really minded that you're a she-male, but like I'm trying to have a conversation with you and all you're thinking of is sex in a certain sense, right? So my image of trans people or she-males was mostly hypersexualized people until I got to Europe and then I met actual trans people who maybe wanted the surgery and who wanted to change some things. So then you start realizing like it's not actually a binary system of I'm a trans, meaning I wear, I have a beard and I have glitter on my beard and I also have long hair and wear dresses and makeup. This is a non binary, which is also considered a trans person. But then you also have a binary trans person, like myself, who jumps from one identity of masculine into a completely opposite identity of feminine. Now, I had a period of being non binary. So my choice was not like I decide to be feminine. My idea was I was struggling being masculine, forcing masculinity because that's what I had to do. And then I let myself be free, and freedom literally led me into complete feminine self. That even the masculine part of me just kind of disappeared. Someone talked about this in relation to women with this warrior masculine energy. If you know Carl Jung, you definitely want to get into the animus, which is the masculine energy in women, and the anima, which is the feminine energy in men. So women nowadays, because of capitalism, are embracing more of their animus, the masculine energy. But men on the opposite side, they don't really get in touch with their anima, and most of them are ashamed of it, which is my story when I was presenting male, because my parents are both Muslim. They don't talk to me anymore. And I partially grew up in Kuwait, which is a Muslim country, and then in Ohio, which is a red state, religious Christian country. So they both follow the same religion. Abrahamic religions for me are the same. If you want to argue with this, let's go. I'm reading now the Hindu book, and I finished reading the Tao, which is kind of a version of Confucius. I'm trying to get my hands on Buddhism, but also I'm seeing like Eastern religion have a similar mentality of religion. But eventually, I was shunned and I'm now labeled mentally ill, but I'm not mentally ill. I don't think so. My transition helped me quit smoking marijuana. I smoked so much marijuana in college and my teenage years. It helped me quit drinking alcohol or needing to drink alcohol. I don't even need to take drugs or go to extreme techno parties and just be on drugs and dance. I'm very content with very little, and my music taste or my music style has also changed. So before transition, I compose my own music. Like I make my own voice in music. I play the guitar. My music is all instrumental. I tried to sing a couple of times, but I realized like if I look at my music now, it was very deeply structured, mathematical, dark music. But recently, even after this transition started like a year or so ago, I'm just realizing that I'm not even leaning towards the darkness anymore. I'm leaning towards more singy, singy, songy, positive, happy vibes. I listen to happier music. I like flamenco. Flamenco has happy stuff, but also this more romantic for me in a certain sense, right? Every once in a while, I go to metal and I listen to metal music, but eventually, thinking that I am now actually pure of mental illness, where before I transitioned, I was mentally ill because I was consuming whatever I could to escape my reality. I was fighting myself. I was forcing systems into myself. I traveled to different countries to tell myself that this country is going to be it. I'm not the problem. It's the country. I need to go find a country that fits my ideals. Eventually, my ideals were it doesn't matter which country I'm in, as long as the law doesn't really criminalize me. And so um, I am definitely content right now in my small city. I'm gonna move, but I'm very content in my small city, and I'll actually be content in any city in the future. I'm going down south in Seville after I finish my PhD because I like flamenco. I'm gonna be taking some flamenco dance music. I mean dance classes. And I'm gonna keep my guitar and meet some girls, and I'll be playing, and they'll be dancing, and then they'll be playing, I'll be dancing. So I'm just going to embrace my artistic side now that I know I'm free and I can be myself. So I'm just going to go find what I like. And what I like is music and dancing. Now, I'm going to stop this here, but I'll see y'all later.